everyone and welcome back to my channel. My name is Erin and for today's video we are going to be doing an incredibly late December wrap-up. I apologize for this being so late. I don't even have words. I was traveling, I didn't get home until the middle of January, and then I had a bunch of other videos that I was really excited to film, and somehow this one just kind of slipped my mind a little bit. I didn't forget about it completely, I just kind of forgot how prominent it should have been, seeing as December was so long ago and we're almost through January. So that's what we're doing today. I apologize for it being so late, and I'm sure that the reviews that I'm going to be giving for these are not going to be as great as I would like them to be, because December was so long ago that a decent amount of these I forget either what problems I had or what specifically I loved about them or whatever the case may be with each of them. So I apologize for that as well. I will try and go back on my Goodreads and write a more thorough review if you are interested in that. It will take me a little bit of time, but if that's something that you guys want or care about, let me know and I can do that. But otherwise, let's get started. I don't have any more to say, and I apologize for the lighting that will progressively get worse throughout this video because I am filming it kind of late and I try and use natural light, but it's like 5 p.m. so I don't know why I even bothered, so I apologize. The first book that I read in the month of December was Get a Life, Chloe Brown by Talia Hibbert. I gave this book a 3 out of 5 stars. I got the recommendation from Books with Chloe. It sounded really good, and this year I definitely, or I guess in 2019, I definitely got more into adult romances and adult contemporary, and so I was really excited to read this one. Especially because there was chronic illness rep. I think it was Own Voices, and I don't remember how soon we find out exactly what our main character Chloe Brown's chronic illness is, so I won't say it, but if you're curious you can look it up. But the book starts where Chloe is in an incident where she almost dies, and she decides, you know what, I could have died today, and I don't feel like I've really done much with my life, and I don't love that, so I'm gonna make a list of things to do so that I can say, so that if, you know, anyone finds me and they're like, oh, what was her life like, they have actual stories to tell instead of she was chronically ill and that's pretty much all there was. She was scared to live her life. So she decides to write a list and make those things happen for herself, move out, different things like that. As she's going through this list, one of the things on there is fall in love. Enter the love interest, Redford Morgan, I think his name is. So initially they start out and they don't really like each other, because Chloe comes off to Red as super posh and she's better than everyone else, where she doesn't see it that way, and she just knows that he hates her, so she hates him on principle. But she also feels really guilty because his apartment is right across from hers, and she was looking out the window one night and saw something that she didn't think she should have been allowed to see. To me, it wasn't really that big of a deal, and I didn't understand why she was freaking out. Maybe that makes me a crazy person, but if you look out your window and see something, I don't really think it's that big of a deal. Whatever. Maybe that's just me, but I feel like that was way blown out of proportion. I don't think that was revealed what really happened until the middle of the book, and when it was, I was like, this is what you're freaking out over? I don't understand. So there was that. I enjoyed the first half of the book because it was them building the relationship and becoming friends and crossing those hurdles, and Redford was really sweet to Chloe. He was very accepting of her chronic illness, which was something that she was afraid of because people in her past had left her for it previously, and Redford wasn't like that at all, didn't understand that mentality, and so it blew Chloe away, and I thought that aspect was really sweet. But the parts where there were intimate scenes, I just wanted to skip over because I was like, no, I don't like this. These are not good in my opinion. So this is a companion series, I believe, and I don't know if I'll pick up the next one, but it was cute, but I didn't love it. It wasn't anything great in my opinion. Moving on, we have another adult romance contemporary, and that is After I Do by Taylor Jenkins Reid. I gave this one a 2 stars, which makes me so sad because I loved the first 80% of it so much. It was one of my favorite, not only Taylor Jenkins Reid books, but romance contemporaries in general. This is about a couple who is really having a lot of problems with their marriage. They've been together for a really, really long time, and they decide to take a year apart to kind of explore themselves and see if they really want to stick out this marriage or if they want to get a divorce. And so I don't remember the characters' names anymore, I apologize, but we are following our female character and like how she's handling this, because she doesn't want her husband to leave, she doesn't want this separation, but she also wants him to be happy, and so she thinks that this is a good thing. And throughout the book we see her development and her kind of become her own person again, and start re-falling in love with things that she liked at one point, but due to her and her husband arguing constantly, like those things she felt like were taken away from her. She couldn't really do anything that she would like. This book, like I said, the first 80% of it I really liked because we got to see our main character grow and come into her own again. She had been with her boyfriend since like college, and so, you know, she, you know, came into her own again, found herself as a singular individual instead of her and her husband together as like one, I guess. Like she was able to be, I don't know, she was able to stand on her own instead of relying on her husband to have a personality. And then the end of the book happened and I was severely disappointed. Maybe I'm just super cynical, but I wanted it to go in the opposite direction. Most people really, really like this book. It has like a 4.04 over average rating on Goodreads, so I am definitely in the minority. You should probably pick it up because, like I said, I really enjoyed the first 80%. It was just the ending that I didn't like, and I'm pretty sure most people don't have a problem with the ending. It was just me, but I wish that it had gone in the opposite direction. Next, I physically read Heavy Vinyl Ride on the Radio by Carly Usden and a bunch of other people, but I don't know their names because these are all their last names. This follows a girl who recently got hired at this this vinyl shop, and she joins this group of girls who are working there, and they all become super close, but she kind of feels like an outcast because they've all been working there for a while, and she feels like they don't really want her there, that she's not really doing a good job and she's gonna get fired. She just feels like not welcome. And then we find out that not only are they employees at a vinyl shop, they are also this secret like vigilante girl gang, and it's amazing. I absolutely loved this graphic novel. It was so good. There is a female-female romance in here, and it's so cute. I love it. I love it so much. And there are a couple of other relationships in here too that I really, really liked. I also loved, there was like a slight mystery aspect, which when I picked this up, I wasn't sure if I was going to enjoy that, but I definitely did. And I loved seeing our main character come into her own and figure out that it wasn't that she was an outcast, it was that they weren't sure if they could trust her with this secret that they were a vigilante girl gang. They weren't ready for her to, you know, be a part of that. And I just loved it. It was so good. I'm so excited for the sequel. This is one of my favorite graphic novels that I have ever read, and I kind of want to reread it. It's amazing. I feel like it doesn't get talked about enough. I gave this a 5 out of 5 stars. I loved it. Next is one of my favorite books of the year. I listened to this one on audio while I was in Universal Studios in Florida. I was walking around Harry Potter with my headphones in, listening to this book while waiting in line for rides and everything, and I freaking loved this book, and that was Sorcery of Thorns by Margaret Rogerson. This was my first Margaret Rogerson that I had ever read. This came out in the summer of 2019, I believe, and this is about a girl named Elizabeth who is a foundling of the libraries, and she's trying to be a warden. So in these libraries, there are these books that are called grimoires. They hold magical powers, and they have to be kept in check. and taken care of so that they don't become these magical monsters. And to people like Elizabeth, librarians, sorcerers are evil, and so they don't interact with them, they don't talk to them, and something happens with Elizabeth where she ends up having to befriend one of these sorcerers named Nathaniel Thorn, and they have to kind of stop this bigger evil together. And Nathaniel has this demon servant named Silas, who I adore. He's one of my favorite characters of all time. There's also a romance that goes on in this book that I absolutely loved. I just loved so many things about this book. There were also so many quotes, and I really want to reread it so that I can annotate this book because I freaking loved it. I wasn't expecting to love it that much. I was expecting to like it okay, but I definitely wasn't expecting it to be a 5-star book, which I think is partially the reason that it was. Margaret Rogerson, in my opinion, has an amazing writing style. I loved this book, and I cannot wait to read anything else that she writes. It was so good. Then, because I read that one and enjoyed it so much, I gave it a 5-star. I don't remember if I said that. I had to pick up An Enchantment of Ravens by Margaret Rogerson on audiobook as well immediately after because I wanted to know if I would like that one. I had heard a lot of complaints, so I was apprehensive about reading it just because of like the length. People said that it was kind of underdeveloped. I ended up giving this one a 4 out of 5 stars. It definitely wasn't as good as Sorcery of Thorns, but I still really enjoyed it. This is about a girl named Isabel, I believe, and she is a painter, and she paints for the Fae people in exchange for protecting her family. And so one day she has a new client and he wants her to do a portrait of her, and so she does, but one mistake that she makes is she accidentally paints human emotion in his eyes, which is not something that fairy people are supposed to express at all. And so she gets in trouble and he whisks her away from her family, and they go to this Fae kingdom for her to be judged. And one thing that I wasn't expecting and that was kind of off-putting was this was more of an adventure story rather than her actually being judged. So don't go in expecting that. You won't get the judgment, but I still really enjoyed it. The romance between the characters was kind of insta-lovey for me. I liked it, but also it was kind of off-putting how quickly it happened. I definitely enjoyed the first half of the book more than I enjoyed the second half, but I still really enjoyed this overall. I gave it a 4 out of 5 stars, like I said, and I would highly recommend it. Then I wanted something else really quick to read, and I was on an audiobook kick, so I picked up With Malice by Eileen Cook, which is something that I have wanted to read since it came out. I just never got around to doing so. It sounded really interesting, and I like mystery thrillers that have the plot of, like, the best friend is dead and they don't know if our main character did it or not, and they don't have their memory. I don't know why, but that's always something that has really intrigued me, and since I read Dangerous Girls, I've wanted more books like that, and so I picked this one up, and it was a super quick read. It was definitely really interesting. I ended up giving this one a 4 out of 5 stars as well. I can't really say too much about it. I pretty much just gave you the synopsis. These girls, they are best friends. They go on a trip together to Italy, and the best friend ends up dead, and our main character is the primary suspect for her murder. And so she has to kind of wait for her memory to come back so that she can prove that she is innocent and didn't actually kill her best friend. So really enjoyed this one. It was good. I think I like Dangerous Girls more, but I still really liked this one as well. Then I finally read Monstrous Volume 1 Awakening by Marjorie Liu and Sana Takeda. This got a 4 out of 5 stars from me as well. I have been saying that I will read this book since the reading rush in 2019, so it has definitely taken me a really long time, but I was intimidated because this is a really long graphic novel, but I ended up really loving this. This is one of my favorite graphic novel books that I've ever read, and I'm super excited to continue on with the series. This is a steampunk fantasy graphic novel about this girl who is half arcanic, half human, and arcanics are this monster race in this world, and they are seen as evil, and the people that are half arcanic, half people are like outcasts. They're treated as slaves, and so much happens, but I feel like I can't say anything else without giving it away. But I absolutely loved this. I absolutely see why Brittany from Brittany the Bibliophile loves it so much, and like I said, I can't wait to continue on with the series because this was absolutely mind-blowing. I freaking loved it. And I love the little fox that follows her around, and the cat, and the banter between our main character, Micah Halfwolf, and the cat. It's all so good. The rest of these books got 5 out of 5 stars. They are all graphic novels. And first up, we have Check Please by Ngozi Ukazu. I apologize if I'm not pronouncing that properly, but this is volume 1, Check Please, of this #hockey series. I'm super excited for the sequel, Sticks and Scones, to come out. This is about our main character, oh god, what's his name? This is about our main character, Biddy, who is starting school at this university for hockey, and he is a gay vlogger. And he feels really nervous to come out to his team, but that is not like the main plot of the book necessarily. It's just about his experiences on the team and with hockey and getting better and, you know, forming relationships and what college is like and how to balance everything. And then there is a romance, and it was so cute. The ending of this book definitely made it for me. I was feeling pretty good about the first bit of it, but the end just made it a 5 stars. I'm so excited for the sequel. It's so good. It's so sweet and wholesome, and all of Biddy's baking made me so incredibly hungry for pie, and I don't think that authors should be allowed to do that. The next 2 books that I picked up are kind of similar. So we have A Quick and Easy Guide to They Them Pronouns by Archie Bongiovanni and Tristan Jimerson. And then I picked up A Quick and Easy Guide to Queer and Trans Identities by Mady G and J.R. Zuckerberg. These I picked up because I live in a pretty small town and I've never seen these in any of my bookstores, but as I live in a small town, I don't see a ton of, like, there isn't a lot of diversity, and I am pretty ignorant to different pronouns and the proper way, like the proper terminology for queer and trans people, and I don't ever want to offend anyone, which is why I'm having a hard time talking about these books. I gave them both 5 stars. I loved them, especially because, like I said, I don't like being ignorant and I really wanted to educate myself, and I think that these were a great place to start. They definitely gave me answers that I was looking for, but they also raised a lot of questions so that I could do my own research and know exactly what I am researching, so it's not just like I'm going in blind, because there is so much to learn about this. So I'm really glad that I picked these up. I would highly recommend them. They are super cute. I enjoyed the art style of this one more. Not that it really matters. They both got 5 stars, and that's not the point of them. That's not the point of these, but I really liked these. They were definitely super informative. Yeah, I loved them. They were really well done, in my opinion. I don't have anything else to say, really. I don't know what else to say. These were educational. I can't, like, critique them like a fictional book, nor do I have the place to. The last 2 books, again, 5 stars for both of them, were Kikis Delivery Service Volume 2 and Kikis Delivery Service Volume 3 of the film comics. I read Volume 1 back in April, and I have wanted to pick up the rest since. They did not have Volume 4, otherwise I would have picked it up, but I'm super glad that I was able to continue. I'm super glad that I was able to continue on with the series, and while I was visiting with family when I picked these up, I was able to actually watch the adaptation, and it was super cool to see that, but then also be able to read these and just kind of compare and see how similar they actually were. I loved these. These are super wholesome, super cute, and I highly recommend them. These are Studio Ghibli, like, graphic novels essentially, but they read like manga. I really enjoyed them. I don't have anything else to say. they're cute. Those were the 13 books that I managed to read in the month of December. This was an amazing reading month for me, both quantity and quality wise, so I am super grateful for that. It got me to my goal of 2019 to read 83 books. Well, my goal was technically set at 80, but in my head I wanted to reach 83. Don't ask me why, but I managed. I hope that you guys all had an amazing reading month. I hope that you're all doing well, reading, mentally, and otherwise. I really hope that you guys enjoyed this video, and I hope to see you all in my next one. Bye, guys.